Good morning. Good morning, listeners. How are you today? This is Jim the Keys Bartender coming to the Florida Keys. A little late, a Wednesday after Memorial Day weekend. Yep, we had a Memorial Day weekend here like you did in the rest of the country. For our foreign listeners, it's a day, Monday is a day we commemorate all the men and women who have fallen that served this country in the armed forces. And we celebrate it by making it we do that, choose that. Let's see, to try to couch my comments. We decide to do it, make it the opening of our summer vacation season. I mean, if you were a fan of the movies, listeners around the world, and all you knew about the United States was the information you got from movies. And from one of the biggest movies, about 42 years ago 46 years ago? Around that. Was Jaws. And the opening of the summer season was July 4th, I think. In Amity, the township of Amity on Long Island. Is it off Long Island? They had to get, people had to get there by ferry. You see that ferry come in and everyone comes off. They're on an island. And you'd think July, that's the opening. Well, that's the opening of the summer season for those guys for, like a month and a half. It's a short season. But on the East Coast, from, if you say Georgia on north, even Myrtle Beach, I guess it's the opening season, the summer season. If you think about the beaches in Florida, once you roll into April, the beaches are almost all open weather-wise. I mean, you still get some cool weather in the Panhandle, but in the Keys, we're open all year round. There's only a couple days where it's too chilly for that. So Memorial Day is ours. And it's not, they do some memorializing. You see it more on the national level, state level, local level, the VFWs and things like that. But our big patriotic holidays are Memorial Day and July 4th. And then you have Flag Day. I guess that's a little less than 2 weeks from now. June 14th. Neither here nor there. Memorial Day is not a huge weekend in the Keys. It's a big one because you got locals. When I say locals, people in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, people that come down here for the weekend. You start getting the weekend crowd coming down here, the vacation rental crowd. We see a lot of out-of-the-area travelers, but not as much as we do the rest of the year. I think the people that have vacation rentals are just renting their places out. Since they're in South Florida, they're not that crazy. I don't get that because it's some beautiful weather down here. And people that own properties, they rent their properties when we're in the nicest weather. I guess the last couple of weeks have been some of the most beautiful weather we had down here. The nights have been relatively cool. I was going to say cool. And it's just because I'm going live in the morning doesn't make it a morning show. Hey, Dad, it's the morning show. Here for your ride. We don't do that here, even though most places don't do that. I don't want to be derivative, but I did want to talk about that morning ride. The morning ride meaning, or coming down here in the morning. Memorial Day. To get back to it. I know, I'm all spotty. What's going on? I'm drinking my coffee and stuff like that. I'm forgetting the line of the reasoning behind here. And later on, I want to talk about Peloton. As a spin instructor, non-Peloton instructor, obviously if I was a Peloton instructor, I would be in Miami or LA or wherever they have the studios, the spin studios, where they have live spinners and their instructors. So Memorial Day for a lot of places, especially like the Jersey Shore, imagine like Ocean City, New Jersey, Virginia Beach, all these places, and I guess in different other places. I know East Coast mainly. I don't know the West Coast. I'm not familiar necessarily with the way of the people at the lake regions up in New England or central part of the United States near the Great Lakes. But Memorial Day weekend, a lot of people come out, and I never understand that thing about everyone going out. Like, I understand if you have a family event, like down here when there's a lot of people getting together, and the reason they pick Memorial Day weekend because it's a 3-day weekend, and this way you can throw in a big event on Sunday. So people come down and they get together and stuff like that. Yes, when you have to coincide the same, and it's not a big enough special event like a wedding, where a wedding you could take off. You might take off in the middle of the week if someone's having a destination wedding, like in Key Largo. Yeah, it makes sense. Say, hey, save the date. We're having a big wedding down here, and it's going to be on a Wednesday or a Monday. Because, you got to pick and choose its availability and stuff like that, especially when you're in a resort town. Not everything's on a Saturday or Saturday night. And plus, it's hard to book for those things when it's not off-season. Not exactly off-season right now. So here we are. We got Memorial Day weekend. We don't know what to expect. We naturally expect a little more business than normal. It turned out to be a little less than normal. We had some weird things going on, like was it Sunday night? It was Sunday night. 15 minutes before closing, we get approximately 50% of our total seating between 15 minutes and closing. Closing is more of a target time. Obviously, when you get a bunch of people seated at a quarter of, you're not closing at your closing time. We're staying open to feed them. And then we're catching people. It's like after 20 minutes after closing, we're catching people in the parking lot saying, hey, listen, we'd love to do it, but we keep on going through the night. And people say, well, Jim, was COVID was going on. Don't you want to stay open? Yes, you do want to stay open, but there's only a limited amount of help you have, and you can't just burn out. You just can't keep your kitchen staff there. And this is my personal feeling. It's harder to find people in the back of the house than it is to find people in front of the house, especially in the summer. Back of the house is grueling. It's long hours. We like a lot of restaurants don't have the depth in the back of the house. So what they do is they limit their hours and they just say, hey, people, this is when you got to come. We have to do this then because otherwise we're going to work. You got to shave off a couple hours here in order not to burn out your help. Like I said, the front of the house doesn't burn out as easily, not because they're tougher or better people. It's because they're compensated directly by an increase in business that it necessitates you to stay open. So it's no big fucking deal. For them, they go, hey, listen, well, I'm going to be walking out with like 30%, 40% more cash in my pocket. And that's the way it was. We had a busy night. And then it kind of, the rest of, Monday night, nothing. And I'm going in today, I guess, to manage. If there's any listeners in the area, I won't be bartending, but I will be there in and out. And then I'll be bartending at night. And that's the Catch Restaurant in Key Largo. Oceanside, mile marker 102, the Catch Restaurant and Bar, with happy hour from 3:30 to 6:30, open for lunch and dinner. A lot of selections when it comes to seafood and non-seafood dishes. And if you have your own catch, please have it cleaned before you come in. Filleted and clean, and they'll cook it up any way you want. And if you do come in, and it's because of the show, tell them the Keys bartender sent you. And just say hello. I like to meet my listeners sometimes. Okay, back to that. So, there was a decent amount of traffic coming in. We did see the traffic. We saw a lot of boats. We saw a lot of cars. But we also saw a lot of people a lot of traffic going out. So people are understanding, what does it mean? What kind of business we're going to have there? What amount of business are we going to have in the Keys? And everyone has their own theory, like assholes. Everyone has one, right? Mine is that there was pent-up demand, and we were getting it anyway. We were open. We were getting it. We were just getting it. Just like a person of questionable, let's say, sexual morality gets to get all the dances at the big dance. We were that libertine type place where we say, we'll take all comers. We were open for business. So it was busy down here, and restaurants and hotels and lodgings and stuff like that are charging incredible amounts. Now I can see the money start, the room rates are starting to fall down again. I get to see them in 150, 130, 140, the lower end hotels. But you still see the bigger ones. There's a little lag on the bigger ones where you see $600-$700 a night. Yes, $600-$700 a night. Some more exclusive ones over $1,000, but you're seeing that less and less. Now it's more $300-$400 a night, which is for a premium hotel still kind of expensive, right? I guess if you're in the central part of the United States, $300 a night, $400 a night, $500 a night. That was a good price. Those prices you heard were good prices for mediocre lodging. Now you can get $200-$300, and these are places like, no insult, and I may never get it, but the Motel 6 or the Nights Inn, those motels that you see when you're driving down the interstate, doing your long road trip, and you see, wow, I remember, I don't know if they're still around like that, but you see these hotels saying $59 a night, $49 a night. You figure they can get some clean sheets and get the room a little clean when it's that, but that's not the case. Every time I stayed in a place when there's lower end motels, I realized at night that, I get all itchy. I think about bed bugs. And it's just, a lot of these places just have these moldy smells to them. The bathrooms aren't that hot. You know what I mean? You think, how much, if someone's spending $49 a night, how much time are you setting your housekeeping in? They're in there in 10 minutes. They vacuum. They clean up any excess bodily fluid on the floors, on the ceilings, on the wall, right? Oh, forget, you don't want to hear about the comforter or the bread spread on top of the those questionable beds. Sometimes I feel like you got to bring like a plastic liner sheet in order, and you got to be careful of your clothes, keeping your clothes. You got to keep your clothes in a bag, sealed bag, one of those vacuum bags, so you don't have to worry about getting any type of parasite. I'm grossing you out if you're traveling, aren't I? Obviously, if that's what you normally expect, like if you're one of these people that stop in those places all the time, it doesn't bother you. But some people, those shitty hotel rooms are kind of skeevy, right? And they're good for one thing. They're flop houses. You go there, you don't do it. It's not a keynote of your vacation. But some people do it. When you go across country, they say, oh, that's where we're staying. We're staying in $49 a night motels or $59 a night. I guess the $69 a night hotel rooms used to be the $49 hotel rooms from years ago. And I made this mistake. If you don't travel much in a while, you could be confused by the pricing system. Just look around and look at the hotel rooms, and you say, if the local if you go to a town and the Best Western is $69 a night, and the the Marriott, the high-end Marriott is $200 a night, you could go thinking, wow, that's the normal prices. That's the price range, $69 to $200 for a good room, $69 for a bad room. Well, down here, that equation changed over those last couple months, the last year. It was like the low-end place, you'd be lucky if you get $130 a night. That's questionable lodgings down here. $130, $120 a night. Spotty housekeeping, spotty maintenance. If you go up and pull the shades fucking fall down on you. The towels are smaller, not that heavy duty applied. It's the kind of towel you'd find at a towel you'd find at a YMCA. It's kind of rough on the outside, and you don't know why is it rough, because maybe they used it to clean up some, like I said, once again, bodily fluids. But you got these shitty towels that are like number 3 sandpaper. Maybe soap in there, maybe not. You'd have to bring your own soap, or you have to go to the motel reception in the main lobby, get a soap. I wouldn't get toothpaste. I mean, you never know. In a place, they may have like a big communal thing where they refill the toothpaste tubes themselves. I've never seen that yet, but I see that in the future maybe. You say, hey, listen, we have it, but we don't give you brand new tubes of toothpaste. We just give you these little plastic tubes that we fill with toothpaste. You can get 3 brushes out of it. Crazy idea. Stupid idea. Right? But hey, how about you spend a little extra time cleaning the room? I'd rather just give you 10 more minutes to clean the bathroom and stuff like that. And they use a shitload of bleach and stuff like that to get in there. But yeah, down here, until recently, and when I say recently, last week, if you found a room down here for under $150, check under the bed for a dead sex worker, or look to see if there's any crime tape around the scene, okay, around the room, because that's what you're going to get. That's the kind of quality you're going to get. Boy, I'm not going to get another. Once again, I think this year I'm not going to get another offer from the Tourism Development Council. But that's the way it is. How can you fucking ignore it? It's not like, hey, Jim, don't say that. Our shitty hotels are a secret. Well, you don't have to stay in a shitty hotel. It's the law of supply and demand. So if you raise your prices too high, then you'll notice that the rooms aren't being booked. And I think that I'm starting to see that when I just took a look down for this weekend or this week. And it's taking a little longer for the bigger hotels. They can't just crash their prices. I like calling it crash their prices. If you were charging $800 a night, and all of a sudden you roll out $230, it becomes apparent when you're talking to someone. You say, well, listen, I stayed here last week, and it was $800. Now I'm coming back again. It's $230. You may have not known that the hotel lodging industry really does reflect surge pricing. And someone mentioned to me, why don't they do surge pricing in restaurants? And they kind of do it down here, because I heard of one of the local places down here that also has entertainment, but it's also primarily a restaurant, charged $10 a head. And they said the guy that works in the kitchen, it's a chef, he said they got $8,000 off the door. $8,000. Holy crap. You know how many restaurants would die for that? $8,000. And there's no way. I didn't even ask if he had a band or not. But if he did, the kind of bands that are down here, at most they pay $1,500. So, my God, another grand for extra security. You know, you may have like 5, 6 guys, which may be woeful. But that's 800 people during the course of the night. That doesn't mean they're all there at one time. They may have had like 300 and something people at a time. But they're charging a cover. And that's kind of like a governor, isn't it? It keeps people on there saying, we're not paying $10. We're coming to eat. We're going to spend $200. Why am I going to pay $10 for a cover charge? Well, there you go. But the other surge pricing, someone mentioned to me saying, listen, if it's like at 9 o'clock, let's say your closing time is 10, and then people want to come in after 10 o'clock and say maybe surge pricing be 50%. If someone decides they want to come later, crazy idea, yeah. And you say, listen, all the extra surge pricing offsets the people in the back of the house, the people that aren't compensated, right? And say, yes, when they come in, that chicken parmesan dinner is $17.95 normally, goes up to $26.95. And we're going to take 25% of that and directly compensate our people in the back, create a pool. So if it came in late with the surge pricing. I mean, people may not stand for that, but they have the choice to say, listen, our normal hours, we can call it surge. That would be the name of it, SURGE. Maybe tie it to like storm surge. Say, listen, if you come in at 4 o'clock, these are the prices. At peak time, when everyone wants to sit down, so you make your baseline, let's say 4 o'clock, and then you surge the price around 7 to 8:30. Let's say your closing time's 10. And you bring the surge pricing back down the regular price after 8:30 for the next hour. And then at the closing, you have the optional say, listen, then surge pricing goes up 50%. And if you want to stay later, if you're sitting at the table, if the closing time was 10 and you're still sitting there at 8:30, 10 and 11:30, say 10% of your bill every time you sit there. And this way you can have, let's say you can keep your cost in hand. You say, listen, we're going to roll back prices to our 1995 prices at 4 o'clock from 4 to 6:30, 4 to 7. And then we go back up to our regular prices. How's that? Just an idea. And then you're taking care of if you end up staying longer and stuff like that. You know the people in the front of the house will be making extra money anyway. With surge pricing, hopefully people will tip accordingly with the 15%. And they know ahead of time. They know that's the gimmick. They don't really understand. People never understand the new gimmicks. They didn't really understand Uber. What do you mean? I'm going to order a taxi with my phone? And you're going to tell me when it's arriving? And then I don't give the person money. I give the information to someone. I have my payment information online, and they pay, and no transaction really occurs and stuff. The first time they came out, people couldn't even wrap their heads around it. Obviously, young people did it, but older people, they're still, they're finally figuring out Uber. You ever take one of your older relatives talking to figure out Uber? Well, like I said, the holiday weekend wasn't that crazy busy. We had a crazy lunch on Sunday. Decent business Sunday night. All the crowded together. And a Monday, not so hot. Memorial Day. See, one of those holidays that you're supposedly honoring those that passed, and it's on a Monday. They should make the Monday, the day they give you off, and Sunday, the day they observe it. Because on Monday, nothing really happens. People are heading home. They make it the holiday. So they're really doing the observation the rest of the weekend. If you understand what I'm saying. And during that, I worked all weekend during this. It wasn't a hardship. I didn't miss out. I do my shit. People go like this and they go, oh, you had to work the whole weekend. I said, well, yeah. What would you do? Would I stay out there with you knuckleheads? Every place was packed. When I say packed, I mean every tourist venue. Like the sandbar, fishing spots. There was tons of boats out there, stuff like that. If you go out today, which is gorgeous, probably nicer than any day this weekend, there's no one out there. Now, today's normally my day off. I got to go in there to do some management stuff, but that's no big deal to me. I had yesterday off. It was a beautiful day there. I enjoyed my day off. I did a little recovery from my physical exertions. I went to the gym. I forgot to tell you while I think it was Monday night, I'm working, and one of my former regulars, who also was the woman, it was a married couple, the woman used to come to my spin class. She and her daughter. And I'm a spin instructor part-time. And I just started doing the classes again. And I mentioned to her, she's working at the same part. She works full-time for who I work part-time, the health, the Baptist South. I can say that. I'm not going to say. So I'm back to doing my class, at least one class a week. I may end up doing two. And I talked to her. I said, oh, yeah, I'm doing a class. Just started class two weeks ago. And she goes, oh, I've been doing spin too. But I've been doing it I bought a Peloton. I love my Peloton. And I go, oh, that's funny. I was just made the connection. I go, wow, I'm a spin instructor. And she chooses to do the remote Peloton. And she didn't see it as I saw it, and I started laughing, and I said, "Oh, really?" and stuff like that. I said, "That's similar to than let's say a woman saying, listen, hey, hon, I know you've been away. I haven't had access to our physical intimacy." Talk about the woman saying that. So I bought a vibrator, dildo, and let me say something. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, there's so much. I mean, I get so much fulfillment out of it. So, and then you hear them gush for pun. Kind of funny I said that, but they go on about how much they love their vibrator / dildo. Meaning that your penis is no longer needed. Or isn't as fun. And that's the way I viewed it, like when I heard that. But I viewed it in humor, and I said thank you to her. And she started apologizing. But I guess from their point of view, they saw me obsessing over her answer to my statement. That wasn't a question. I'm doing my spin class again. And then she goes, I got a Peloton and I love it. Unsolicited. An unsolicited endorsement of that. And I go, well, and then I told her, and then she just thought I was insulted. And I said, I wasn't insulted. And first of all, the woman's a sweetheart. And I said, I understand it completely. I just think I thought it was funny. And I enjoyed the premise of it more than, I didn't take it personally. Luckily, I think the thing that makes me different from other people is I don't identify just as a bartender / spin instructor. Remember, I'm doing this right now, podcasting. I know that's probably, is that number 4 as I identify myself? And I also am a notary. I do signing services for mortgage loan closings, refinances, and I do weddings and all these different things, power of attorneys. And usually I have some other side gigs. So when someone makes a suggestion, I'm not at the top of my game in any of these games, or avocations or vocations, like bartending, I can always fall back and say that's not the only thing I am. Even though on the show, the title of the show being Keys Bartender, it just means I'm a bartender. That's my primary job, and I live in the Keys. And the perspective from the Florida Keys. And I give updates, about traffic, about crazy crimes that go on. And there hasn't been a crazy crime or anything like that. But I can understand that Peloton being big. Places like this. We don't have tons of spin studios here. There's 2 of them in the Upper Keys. There's 2 of them. There's one at it's funny because if you think about it, until you get down to Marathon, Florida, 50 miles. There's not another one for 35 miles. I guess about 35, 40 miles from each location. From each location. The 2 spin studios in the Upper Keys are either at Mariners Hospital, the wellness center, or Froggy's gym. And these 2 gyms are within 300 yards of each other. I think that's approximately 300 yards. And that's where your 2 spin classes you have in the Upper Keys. So if you like spin and you don't want to travel, you could be in the Ocean Reef, which is the gated community to the north of me, about 20. You might have to travel an hour. An hour. You can go up to the mainland, go south, or actually, I guess they have spin classes in Ocean Reef. Not the same because they got to care. They got to wear certain clothes. I think they have to teach with khaki pants on and shit like that. I'm in no danger of losing any endorsements from Ocean Reef at this time. But what I am saying is, if you don't have access to it, it's like Amazon. Why would someone put like a Target down here? Oh, there's my dog. She's up. She just ran by our little 8-pound Chihuahua terrier mix dog. She gets up around 10 after 8, goes to her day bed from her night bed. Her night bed's the same as our night bed. She just likes to sleep with us, and then all of a sudden she gets up and goes to another bed. What a fucking life, right? So I'm back to talking about spin and Amazon and stuff like that. If you have access, why would you put a store down here, let's say Target, and the locals are so used to not having access immediately to things, and then all of a sudden you have Amazon all of a sudden, 20-something years in the making. Amazon is shipping anything you want down within 2 days. Or you can take 2 hours out of your life and drive up to the mainland. Now, there's some things you have to get in the mainland. Like if you want to go to one of those big warehouse stores, you have to go to the mainland. Just not enough population down here for the mainland. Or you're going to order online. It's like spin class. I can spend an hour and a half traveling back and forth to go to spin class, even though I only have 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Or I can have a Peloton bike and do the spin class right in the house. I understand the equation there. I'm not insulted by them. Some people, if that's your main thing you do, I have people that they identified 50% of what they are outside of who they are is what they do. And if their main thing they do is a spin instructor, I would be very defensive about a remote application where you have these fitness models, and they look like fitness models, nice looking people with a lot of enthusiasm, stuff like that, are doing these live classes, streaming for people. And then down here in the Keys, I guess sometimes you don't get, streaming, the internet is interrupted. So, that may be a problem. That's a side note. Sorry about that. But, yeah, if I identified primarily as a spin instructor, I would definitely feel a little challenged or a little, I don't even know what the word would be. But it would be kind of like if I got my next door neighbor moved in and some dude moved in next door and he's like 30 years old, sculpted to the bronze, sculpted to the max, perfect shape, handsome guy, and he's sunning himself out front all the time. I just see my woman staring out the window. Yeah, there'd be some jealousy going on, right? But Peloton to me is as if, yeah, it's a better looking dude. He's 25 years younger than me. That's it, but he doesn't have any conversational skills. Not that these Peloton instructors don't have conversational skills, but how personal can they get with people and how fun can they be when they have like 20 people in class and 300 people remotely? I mean, it's got to be interesting. I'm going to see how that happens. I would love to do one of their classes. I wonder if they get qualified and go do. I wonder if I'd get kicked out of Mad Dog if I did that. I should go to Peloton and say, "Hey, are you looking for an older instructor?" I'm not quite with the walker routine yet, but I can do a lot of those things they do on there, and maybe they can put a little makeup on me or something, like a little tan. The funny thing, I'll get back to this thing, on both Peloton and Spin, there's people that come to the class and they're wearing biking gear. They wear this biking pants and all that stuff. And those biking pants and things like that, where you have the shirts, that's mainly for people that are road racing. And there's a reason they make that equipment for the road race. They make it so you have a sleek design, so there's not a lot of resistance on you. And it's easy to, open up and vent if a lot of heat. You got the zipper in the front and all that stuff. But in a spin class, you're doing it 45 minutes. You just get, at most, maybe an hour. I've done classes over 2 hours long. Where a marathon class, yeah, a little, an hour and a half marathon class, 2 hour marathon class. But you wear comfortable clothing because you're going to get up to warm quick, and then you just maintain it. The temperature's not going to drop. It only drops at the end when you stop exerting yourself. It's not like you're going in the mountains of the Alps where there's going to be a 20 degree drop in temperature. Usually in those spin rooms, you're going to be starting out kind of cool, but then you get warmed up, you're going to be warm and stuff like that. So you don't need this special clothing to reduce drag, because there's no drag. You're stationary. You just need stuff that reduces the amount of abrasion on your legs. You don't want to wear wearing shorts that cause that. And so they get all dressed up and they look like they're going to be going on the Tour de France. You're not going to Tour de France. It's an indoor cycling class. That's the reason why it almost looks like a yoga outfit. I don't wear a yoga outfit. I wear pretty much the same outfit that I wear for when I'm weightlifting. Shorts, Under Armour shirt. Just because when I sweat, it wicks away from my body, and I don't want to get too deep in that. But I understand the feeling, get back to it, the convenience of wanting Peloton over that. I enjoyed, there's other dynamics that are going on when it comes to group fitness classes. There's camaraderie, the people that some people go to spin class. They want to be seen as going to spin class. they want to come in contact with the other people because that's what they do. And it's part of the commitment, getting up and doing that. And when you have other people around you, you're kind of making yourself, what's that word? Where you have to be able to put out the exertion. There's very rare. I've had people come into class for the first time and they go into spin class and realize it's not for them, but they never give it a chance. They don't take their time, ease their way into it. They just come in and say, "Oh my God, it's just busting my balls. This fucking sucks. I'm going to get out of it." And they get off the bike and they leave, confirming whatever they thought in the beginning, or maybe not. I didn't know what they had in their head. They thought, well, it's riding a bike. How hard is that? And they're doing it and said, I can't do any of these things. I can't do it. I can't stand up on my bike. I can't get up this. I don't feel comfortable. I'm trying to maintain the pacing with the other people. Right? I just can't do it. So they get up and they leave. Same thing can happen in Peloton. You just go and walk away. You can turn it off and say, I'm done. And then you'll become, how many Pelotons out there are really $3,000 clothes hangers? People get on those things and they just never go back. They say, I'm going to ride that bike all the time. No, you're not. And riding a bicycle is different. You get to see things and stuff like that. And obviously, if you really get into Peloton, you get to use other instructors and stuff like that. And there is a challenge. I'm sure. Matter of fact, I should be getting paid by Peloton for doing this commercial. That would be interesting. Maybe I should be talking to Peloton about it. The guy that invented Peloton or came up with the concept grew up down here. I think in Amarada. It could be in, one of those local folklore, but that's it. So we're 42 minutes. I know it's Wednesday and it's my first show. What am I going to do? I'm going to try to do another show. See if I can get one, peel one out before I go into work. But I do appreciate you for listening. If you do like us, follow us on Facebook. That's Keys Bartender on Facebook, or Keys Bartender on Instagram, or Keys Bartender on Twitter. And interact with me. If you interact with me, I'll interact back. Come on. If you're a follower, why don't you say something? Pop up and say hi today. There you go. If you're a follower, I just want to hear a hello. And I'm not expecting one of those phony accounts to come in there with the hot Instagram models that say, hi, how are you? I'm looking for a relationship. I'm not looking for a relationship. When I say, I am kind of looking for a relationship if the relationship is podcaster to listener. I'm not looking for a girlfriend on the internet who wants to send her money. Or him. It's almost always a guy. It's so funny when you see it. You see they get people. They grab a couple screenshots and they create these dummy accounts. And I look at it as soon as there's like only 2 pictures and there's no comments and stuff like that. I realize it's a dummy account. I'm not going to go to it. It's not that beautiful women don't listen to the show. They do. But I don't get an account just a beautiful woman say, hey, listen, is this guy 50? He's about to be 58 years old. This older bartender as a thing, I'm going to follow him, and I think he's hot. I want to be in a relationship with him. Oh, he's not a millionaire, but I don't care. I just want to. No, it doesn't work like that. I know that. I am self-aware that I am not going to get an unsolicited friend or conversation on the one of the social networks, that it's not going to come to me, and they're saying they're going to be in their late 20s, mid 30s, and And they're going to say, oh, I'm just looking for a relationship. And you look like perfectly. You're married. You're married with not a lot of money. Oh, you're a perfect relationship for me. First of all, I don't know why they would want to. If that was true, I value my attraction. I have value in a relationship, but that's not. I mean, maybe it's a big world out there. Maybe there's a lot of people. Maybe there's one. That's the one thing that person wants. I want to get in a relationship with a guy who doesn't have a lot of money and is older, and probably no hopes of anything ever happening. Maybe that's they're dreaming of that. But you know what? Most of the times, it's in an alternate income stream for these people that try to make friends with people. Try to get money from them. And I understand people needing money and stuff like that, but, I'm not going to do it under those auspices. But it's all right to pop up and say hi. Come on and say hi. And the first thing you should say is, I'm a listener. If you happen to be a 22-year-old girl in South Beach, Miami, and you have a string bikini shots, and you look to be a Playboy model, don't pop up and just say hello. Say hello, I'm a listener to your show, because then I'll believe you. Also, if you're like a 40-year-old guy, you say hello. I'll assume that you're a listener. You don't have to say I'm a listener, because I'll assume you are a listener. See how it works? Kind of weird, huh? One friend down here, acquaintance, the guy's in his late 70s. And except for being a male, he's kind of like the Black Widow. Because he had several wives, and he's been married more than, I think, at least 3 times. And 2 of his wives passed away while they were married. So I only think he may have had one messy divorce. But then he comes to me. He's in the late 70s. And he's not one of those guys that you see down in South Florida that is late 70s. Look like they're in their 50s. Maybe. He's in his late 70s. Look like he could be in his early 80s. Still, he was a pleasant looking guy, I guess, when he was younger and stuff like that. But he shows me this picture of this woman who contacts him from Colombia, who looks to be about 30 and very well put together, attractive. And he says, Jim, this girl, can you, and he started asking me, you're a notary, can you do a wedding? And I said, yeah. And I go, oh, wow, I haven't met this person. You're already in a relationship. Well, and then he shows me a picture of this Colombian woman he's never met before. And she says she's in love with me, blah, 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 blah. And they go, okay, this 30-something, less than half your age, who, let's say 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 22, 8 years ago, she was 1/3 your age. 1/3, total 1/3, not 1/3 less than her age, 1/3 his age. So if he was 66, then, right? Follow the math. And she says she's in love with you, never met you. Do I think it's real? No, I don't think it's real. And I don't think you're going to need me to do the wedding thing. And, if they come here, you enjoy it for, maybe it's worth getting married. If you find out all the legal things, like you're able to get a divorce right away and she doesn't take all your money and clean out your retirement. That may be fun. You get a couple months out of it. That may be well worth it. I didn't say that to him. I just said, be careful. It doesn't look legitimate. Years ago, it would be, one of these girls who's around, close to 300 pounds saying, I got an email from a Nigerian prince who wants me to keep $500,000 in my bank account. So I'm going to give him my bank account information. I would say, don't do it. It doesn't look kosher. Okay? So, and this is on the internet. It's funny. Some people down here or shaky, questionable reputation without doing something weird. So let's all hope for the best for my friend there. I'm not going to say their name. I think I didn't give any clues, but be careful around there. This is Jim the Keys Bartender. Be careful with any unsolicited romantic things. Who knows? Thank you for listening. I'll be back maybe later. Bye.